Sego, welcome to Moosehide Campaign Day. My name is David Stevenson, Wuyakai Mahat Manadu, and I'm the CEO of the Moosehide Campaign, and I have the honor of being your MC for the day. As we begin our ceremony today, I'd like to acknowledge that we are calling in from the traditional territories of the Lekwungen-speaking peoples, the Songhees and Esquimalt nations, and that all of you are watching in from your traditional territories of the territories that you're on. I'd like to acknowledge all the elders, chiefs, elected officials who are with us today. And this morning, we'd like to start our ceremony off and our day off in a good way. And I'd like to invite our friend and Lekwungen knowledge holder from these territories, Yakwelipton, to start our work and our ceremony today. So I'll call Yakwelipton forward.
It's Quecho CM Siea Nashwalakwa. It's Quecho CM Siea Nishtalacha. It's CM Tias Quecho Niquilia. So good day, my family, and good day, my friends. I thank you for joining us, whether it be in person or virtual, to share this time and space with us. I thank my Moosehide family for acknowledging the Lekwungen, the place to smoke herring people we know as Songhees and Esquimalt today. I thank them for always, in the work that they do, embracing the teachings and the ways of the community that they choose to call home, and raise my hands to the family. I thank our elders, our matriarchs, our hereditary chiefs, and communities for sharing this time with us. I thank all the young hearts and minds, the youth and the children that are witnessing this as well today. As we do each year since the beginning, we have paddled our way into this space through song to not only acknowledge where our canoe is landing, but how we welcome each other into this space. And we are getting innovative, as you can see, in how we do those welcomes. I'd like to share a Pata welcome song. And perhaps this is our opportunity to acknowledge the lands that we choose to call home. And perhaps it's our opportunity to acknowledge the ancestors and supernatural ones that we welcome into this space as well too. And our loved ones that have gone before us. So that we're reminded in how we walk through this day and how we look after one another. So, Haitskasiam.
Yo
So once again, would like to welcome my Moosehide family to our beautiful territory and sacred waters. Again, acknowledge each of you in the beautiful lands that you reside, and thank our ancestors and supernatural ones for guiding us in the way that we do our work today. That song is a paddle welcome song from the Cowichan territory that I learned at the age of 4 to dance to from my late uncle, Kwashimet. And I'm very grateful that I continue to sing that song in the way that he's taught it to my family. I wish you all well throughout the day. Haitzkasiem.
Haichka Yokwelipton, thank you for taking care of us and opening us up in a good way, welcoming us into the space in a good way, and starting the work in a good way. The Moosehide Campaign family has also asked Yokwelipton to help us out today with a witnessing ceremony, and so we'll ask the family to come forward and Yokwelipton to come forward to help us out with this work.
Don't need my drum for this. Haitzquechel siem siea Naquilia. Haitzkasiem tiesquechel Nashwalakwa. Haitzkasiem tiesquechel Nishjalacha. So once again, just acknowledge each of you for sharing this time and space with us today. Extend my gratitude to our respected family and respected extended family for sharing this time with us. As I shared earlier at the beginning of the song, the Moosehide family felt in their heart to follow the protocols and the ways of our Lekwungen teachings in the way that much of our work has been done for hundreds, if not thousands of years. My Moosehide family wants to let our community know, the ones fasting, the ones participating, the ones presenting, the ones witnessing the work that is happening. They want our community to understand and know that they want to do this work in a good way. And in order to do so, often in our teachings we call upon witnesses, community members, to witness the work that we do throughout the day. And those witnesses are often family or community that my Moosehide family has a connection to. And as we call upon those witnesses, we ask them to observe the way that we conduct ourselves throughout the day, how we look after those within our circle, and how we continue with the teachings that have been passed through our families, individually as well. It's such important and beautiful work. It speaks to transparency. It speaks to accountability. And it speaks to a commitment in how we walk in this world. Will we be calling those witnesses today for the morning And then we will be calling them back later in the day to share a few words on what they've observed. In our old ways, our witnesses would have been presented with either food, regalia, or wool as an offering to be a witness to the work, or something functional they could bring home. Today, we've adapted to contemporary society, and it's 50 cents is what the handshake is. And I was asked about inflation. But, the 50 cents is more around that old gesture of handing that item over to the individual, and the family humbly asking them to witness the work that they do. And so I thank my family for embracing these ways and these teachings. And I thank the family that have come forward to be witnesses for the day. So at this time, as I call the witnesses, there will be no speeches as I call you forward, but at the end of the day, we'll be asking you to share a few words. So I'll say, Lalengan sweltet squaltiem. That's me calling upon a witness to witness a work. And so, Jane McMillan, Lalengan sweltet squaltiem. The family asks you to be a witness for the day. And I think they did a magical EMT transfer to our dear relative for the handshake, and that's the innovation of the moose hide today. Wanik Horn Miller, Lalengan sweltet squaltiem. Heitzka Siem, you've asked to be a witness today. Heitzka. We have the good fortune of two of our relatives in person today, and call upon Benny Rovluk, Lalengan sweltet squaltiem. Heitzkasiem, Wahiel, Kawapatasko, Lalengan sweltet squaltiem. On behalf of my Moosehide family, would like to thank our dear relatives for your kind attention as we do this work. To our witnesses, we just extend our hands in gratitude for the work that we've asked you to do. And once again, to acknowledge my Moosehide family for following in the teachings of the land, that we do this work in a good way, that we do this work in the way that our ancestors have always taught us to do so. And just as we move forward, that reminder that we look after those that we invite into our house for the day. That we look after from the littlest to the eldest within our circle. That we remind ourselves that today is about our connection, our commitment to ending violence in the lives of women and children. And I thank my Moose Hide family for the opportunity to share this space for another year. So, Haitska Siam, that concludes this part. Haitska.
So thank you, Yakwelapten, for taking care of us and guiding the ceremony and the important work of the day. As Yakwelapten mentioned, we'll be hearing from the witnesses during our fast-breaking ceremony this evening at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and that we hope you can join us and be part of that important part of the day. You know, as you can see and feel, today is a day of ceremony, and so we've asked elders on the East Coast, our elder and loved one, Judy Clark, singing Thunderbird Woman, and White Eagle Woman, and our relatives of the East Coast of Turtle Island, North America, to support this day with a daybreak ceremony, which they did this morning, which would be about 4 hours ago now. And they also recorded the other day, they recorded a daybreak ceremony, which is online on our Moose Hide Campaign Day event website, and which many of you have watched today as the sun came up on your location on Turtle Island. And the elders and the knowledge keepers want you to know that today they're holding you in ceremony and being with you in this ceremony and this work that we have done, and that there are elders holding fires, sacred fires today to hold us in the ceremony and the fast, and to hold us in a good way. So I'd like to take a few minutes to offer an overview of the day. As you know, this is our 11th Moose Hide Campaign Day, and it's actually our second virtual ceremony. And we want to ensure that, you know, we've done our best to make this day safe for everyone. We continue to follow the public health orders and encourage all of you to do that and take care of yourself during the day wherever you are. And as well, we want to acknowledge that this issue we'll talk about today, these issues of reconciliation and gender-based and domestic violence, these are challenging issues. And so we just ask to please ask each of you, each and every one of you, to please take care of yourselves and each other as you go through the day, and hold each other and this ceremony and each other in a good way. And we want to acknowledge that the many elders and cultural guides and knowledge keepers and supporters who have helped us to ensure that we do this work in a good way, and we hope that we do that, and we'll do our best to do that in a good way today. You know, today there are many Moose Hide campaign events happening all across Turtle Island. We're joined today by over 400,000 registered people who have registered for the day. And, you know, and I'll just get you to switch to the next page there if you can. Register for the day. And so just want you to know that we are not alone in this together. You are not alone in this together. We're all connected virtually, but also in spirit through the ceremony and through our collective intention to advance both ourselves and our communities in this learning journey that we're on. And I want to acknowledge that many of you are fasting today with us from across Turtle Island, and we're deeply grateful for you and to you for doing that hard work. We've got lots of notes in this morning of people who are saying, hey, I'm fasting today, into our emails, etc. And so really grateful for that. I'm fasting. Many of us are fasting with you today, and want you to know that we're holding you in this space collectively together. And again, we've worked to create this environment and the ceremony in a safe way. And should you need any additional support or resources, we encourage you to visit our Wellness Center on our event page. So we have a Moosehide Campaign Day event page that you can find once you've registered, but it's events.moosehidecampaign.ca, which has resources and help supports. And our event website, there's also lots of videos to support you in fasting. And there's elders teachings and other helpful information about the campaign and about the work that we're trying to do. So we encourage you to go there if you haven't already, to have a look and see what you can find there. That would be a benefit. I'd like to give you a little bit of an overview of the day now, just so you know what's coming next. And then in just a moment, we're going to hear an opening address from the Honorable Murray Sinclair. Following his honor's address, we'll hear from Her Excellency, the Right Honorable Mary Simon, Governor General of Canada. And following Her Excellency's remarks, we will hear from the Honorable Mark Miller, Minister of Crown Indigenous Relations, and the Honorable Patty Haju, Minister of Indigenous Services Canada. Finally, we will hear from the co-founders, Paul and Raven Lessert, who co-founded the campaign. And after hearing from our speakers, we will have a few final words before a 15-minute break, at which time we will start in with the workshops at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. To build the energy, build on the energy that each of you are bringing to this incredible day. The workshops will be live and interactive. We wanted to make sure that in the ceremonial energy of the day, we keep live and interactive workshops for each of you. And there will be about a half an hour. These will be about an hour and a half each, and are open to anyone who wants to join. Most of the workshops are with elders and or traditional knowledge keepers who have dedicated themselves to this kind of work and to the important work of creating safety and wellness in their lives and in their families and their communities and organizations. And again, workshop registration is still open, so if you haven't registered for a workshop yet, you can still register via our workshop page on the event web page that I mentioned earlier, the events.moosehidecampaign.ca. And these workshops will end at 11:30 a.m., again, Pacific Standard Time. At that time, there will be about a 30-minute break. And if you're in Victoria, and I know many of you are in Victoria, BC right now, so this is a good time to make your way down to our walk to End Violence, which we have every year. We will be walking from Thunderbird Park to the legislature. Thunderbird Park is Douglas and Belleville, the corner of Douglas and Belleville at Thunderbird Park, and we'll walk down to the legislature beginning around noon, again, Pacific Standard Time. And we'll hear some words at the legislature and some more ceremony there. And just so everybody knows that this too will be live streamed, and so you can watch the live stream of that walk. And we know that there are many walks happening across North America in support of this day. So, but this one's open for everybody who wants to watch that one. Then we'll have a break for about 7 hours, quite a long break, until about 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, at which time we will be holding our online fast-breaking ceremony. During this part of the ceremony, we'll hear from the 4 witnesses that were just called forward. Also, there will be, also for those of you who are east of BC and are fasting and would like to break your fast with us at sundown, wherever you are, we also have pre-recorded a fast-breaking ceremony with our elder, Wedlady Speck, and again, that's on our event website under the Fasters Fire section. You'll see that if you go to the events website. So you can watch that fast-breaking ceremony no matter where you are on Turtle Island when the sun goes down if you want to, and or join our live one at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for the fast-breaking ceremony. And I want to let you know that all of our live stream content, as well as a selection of our workshops, will be recorded and will be available at our events website after this. And finally, for those of you who are active on social media, we encourage you to wear and share your Moosehide pins and message off your accounts today. And you can use the hashtag Moosehide Campaign Day, and or you can use hashtag Fast to End Violence in your posts. We'd love to see your photos and how you're doing for the day and who you're connecting with, and really appreciate any help you can to get the word out about this important work. So for our first speaker, we are very grateful and very honored to have the Honorable Murray Sinclair provide an opening keynote address today. The Honorable Murray Sinclair is a former member of the Canadian Senate and is a First Nations lawyer who served as the chairman of the Indian Residential School Truth and Reconciliation Commission from 2009 to 2015, I think it was. And he was previously a judge in Manitoba from 1988 to 2009, being the first Indigenous judge appointed in the province. The Honorable Murray Sinclair was appointed to the Senate of Canada in 2016 and retired at the beginning of 2021. We were very lucky, myself and Sage Lessert were very lucky that 2 weeks ago we had the honor of gifting his honor with the 3 millionth Moosehide pin. And we'd just like to say that, you know, for us, he is truly a national treasure and has and continues to guide our nation and our hearts and our spirits on the journey of reconciliation as a country and as us as individuals. So we'd like to ask His Honor to come forward and welcome Your Honor to Moosehide Campaign Day.
Well, thank you very much, Miigwech, for that kind introduction. I know that I've been given a limited amount of time here, so I don't want to exceed it. So I actually have a timer that I've turned on here just to give me a warning that once I get to about 5 minutes or so, I'll try to refocus everybody. But I want to begin by acknowledging the importance of the Moosehide campaign, and in particular, I want to acknowledge the important contribution of the Lessert family generally to the evolution of this this campaign and the Moosehide focus to address the issue of violence against women and to speak out in favor of what it is that they're doing. I know that this campaign is not just about spreading the word and getting people to look at violence in their community, violence within their families, and address it and do what they can about it. That's important, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But it's also about looking to those who might be able to support the campaign in very distinct ways, whether it's through fundraising activities, the establishment of programs, the establishment of education programs. It's very important. One of the things that we talked about in the Truth and Reconciliation Commission report when it came to the issue of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls was that it clearly comes from a community or from a society that has been taught disrespect between Indigenous and non-Indigenous people, and that disrespect has also been passed on to people within the community, and in particular towards women. Whereas women had been placed into positions of significant respect and significant figures of authority within the community, the one thing that we were constantly reminded of was that the position of women was denigrated over the years by Canadian society through legislation, and also by the fact that non-Indigenous women within Canadian society also were being treated disrespectfully, and that doubled down when it came to Indigenous women, and such that not only were Indigenous women treated with disrespect, but they were also subject to violent treatment, sometimes verbal violence, sometimes emotional violence, but also physical violence. And that physical violence has extended over a number of generations now. And we need to recognize that that means that it's going to take us a while to fix this, but we have to concentrate our efforts to fix it as early as possible. And what I said in the report, and what I truly believe, is that it begins with the children. We recognize that, we do recognize that children in their early years always treat each other with respect and with kindness. They may be competitive, of course. They may be, fighting over toys or whatever, but they do have an inherent respect for each other, and we need to nurture that. And so the public school system bears a lot of responsibility here for failing to reinforce that within the educational environment. And when you go to public schools, the way in which children are not only allowed to treat each other, but sometimes are inadvertently encouraged to treat each other, is to be to allow bullying to take place, to allow disrespect to be part of the school environment. And I can't tell you the number of times that I've heard about young girls who are being mistreated in the schools by their classmates and by their colleagues, and that the parents worry about what impact that's going to have going down the road. And so I think when it comes to how we address this properly, I think we have to look at doing what we can to change the way that we educate our children, so that our children are allowed to grow up and be able to talk to and about each other with much more respect, and to treat each other with more respect. And that includes modeling our behavior as well. And people ask me all the time, what can we do about reconciliation? And I always say, the major thing that you can do is, when you see racism, when you see mistreatment, when you see people who are being mistreated in society or mistreated in public somewhere, do something about it. Step in and confront it, call it out. Don't let it happen, because if you stand by silently and let it happen, then you are part of the problem. Reconciliation is not a spectator sport. We have to do what we can do when we are called upon to do it. And so I want to thank all of you for being part of this campaign and for encouraging this campaign to go ahead and to go forward. And I support everything that happens with regard to this, because I believe sincerely that this is a fundamentally important issue, and that we have to do something about it. We have to address it, because we cannot continue to allow our women, our sisters, our mothers, our aunties, our grandmothers, and our children to be treated as they have been treated in the recent past. Very much. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Your Honor, for those powerful words and for taking some time out of your day to come and share with us this that reconciliation is not a spectator sport, and really encouraged by the words and by the guidance that you've offered the campaign and the family and all Canadians. So hands up and thank you so much. We are now very honored to have some words from Her Excellency, the Governor General of Canada, Mary Simon. We are grateful that she has taken some time to raise this issue of reconciliation and ending violence against women and children from her office and from her heart. And so we'd just like to bring forward her message to us.
Hello, bonjour, ulukut. I would like to acknowledge that I'm joining you today from Rideau Hall, which sits on the unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people. Atira Mary Simon, inuktitut atira ningiukalak, ulume uhalimayunga ilitsinut kikatoksunga atanaktuamik tamani kanatame, nuna hakasi mayutsunga aknausunga sibulipa mutakunga, tilijaw mayunga aknausunga. I often begin my presentations in Inuktitut, my mother tongue. I said that I'm speaking to you today not only as Governor General of Canada, but also as an Indigenous person and as a woman. I'm talking to you as Ningiukarluk, which is my Inuk name. I was given this name by an Inuk midwife who helped my mother give during my birth. I have great hope and optimism for our future. J'ai beaucoup d'espoir pour notre avenir. I am optimistic because of your support of the Moose Hide campaign and this day of ceremony. I'm optimistic because of the change you represent, and we desperately need change. For too long, women and children, especially Indigenous women and girls, have been in danger. Danger from violence, from abuse, from neglect. Danger brought on by certain members of our communities, family and friends. Danger from a world that didn't know how to react, from people who were not equipped with the right tools when confronted with harsh truths. We have seen the results for women and children: suicide, poverty, guilt, shame, issues of mental well-being. We've all read the articles, seen the data, heard the stories within our families. The times of "I didn't know" are over. It's time to take responsibility. We shout into the wind, "What can we do?" We're asking the wrong question. Look inward, what can I do? Every individual is responsible for their behavior and for inspiring others through words and actions. You're taking part in the ceremony because you know that change is necessary, not for today, but for every day. You want to make a difference, and you're serious about embracing transformation. This is one step on the road to reconciliation. Ceci est un pas sur le chemin de la réconciliation. Reconciliation is not one project, nor is it only one step. It is a continuous evaluation of where we want to go as a people, as a community, and as a country. It's creating opportunities for equality, diversity, and safety. It's leading with understanding and respect. I will repeat these two key words: understanding and respect. There is an old cliche, to walk a mile in someone else's shoes. We must strive to do the same. Men and boys need to understand the unique strain and expectations of Indigenous women and girls. They need to understand their struggles and how society has seen them as less than for so long. And they need to understand the danger they're in when isolated, whether by the pandemic, by location, or by circumstance, prevents them from seeking help. Even when not in physical danger, women have dealt with moments of great inequality and have often been disrespected and dismissed. Early in my career, I was often the only woman in the room, fighting not only for Inuit rights, but also just to be heard. On one occasion, I had to confront a man who was mistreating me, talking down to me, dismissing what I had to say. I persisted and overcame adversity because I had to, because I could not go back to my community and those who I worked for without results. The cause was too important for me and my people. This is a similar story for women across Canada and around the world. We fight to have our voices recognized, to get a seat at the table, to receive the same respect as anyone else. But it isn't enough, and we don't act early enough. We are, after all, shaped by our childhood. We have seen the impact of our history of Indigenous children ripped away from their homes and separated from families, sent to residential schools, punished for speaking their languages, stripped of their culture and beliefs. Trauma followed the survivors and the generations that followed. The journey towards healing continues to this day. We must do better for our children. We must do better for girls, for women. Nous devons faire mieux. And I have hope that we will succeed, because hope exists when we come together for a cause this big, this vital. Just last month, we saw His Holiness Pope Francis deliver an apology on behalf of the Church. The apology followed a week of discussions with an Indigenous delegation. We took agency, we took action. In the end, we got what we waited for so long to hear, and perhaps a renewed chance for healing. This apology was a first step, but it's just that, one step, and it's one that must be followed with action. In Inuktitut, there is a word, ayunnata. It's a significant word in our culture and in our language and has many meanings. It's a vow, a promise to never give up. It is committing ourselves to action, no matter how daunting the cause may be. In that same spirit, I ask you, I encourage you, I implore you, don't let progress stop with this one day. Don't give up. Take the energy of this community, this strong community, and hold the difficult conversations with our sons and friends and schoolmates. Make it clear that we can adjust our thinking. We can create a safer world for everyone. Have you ever seen a flock of starlings? When they gather, they fly in sync, dancing in the air, creating beautiful aerial formations before settling. This is called murmuration. Like a starling murmuration, all of you here have a collective will to fly together, to jolt our society in a new direction, to create something beautiful in the world. Let us find a light within ourselves to shine into the darkness. Commit to action and change for our mothers, daughters, and all women, girls, and children in Canada. Upperutunga ilun na sinik, taman na piyun na nisi, ang iyumat ang malusungu yutsuni. I believe in you, in your energy and determination. I know we can do it together. Thank you, merci, miigwech, nakokmeik.
Thank you to Her Excellency for those amazing words and encouragements and sharing, not only as the Governor General, but as she said, but also as an Indigenous woman and from her traditional name and the teachings of her people. So powerful, and I'm thinking of murmuration now and how we're all trying to fly together to create a change in this country, and it's really, really encouraging to get a teaching like that to help guide us in this work today. I'd like to also introduce a message from Mark Miller, who is the Minister of Indigenous Crown Relations, as well as the Honourable Patty Hajdu, who is the Minister of Indigenous Services Canada, who've put together a note for us to share with you.
On a moose hunting trip along the Highway of Tears in 2011, where many Indigenous women have gone missing or have been murdered, First Nations father-daughter duo Paul and Raven Lacerte had an idea while hunting together in their traditional Cara territory. That idea grew quickly into a First Nations-led grassroots movement of men and boys standing up to end violence against women and children, the Moosehead Campaign. Since then, the movement has grown to involve tens of thousands of Canadians across the country. With support from Canada, the campaign has distributed more than 2 million Moosehead pins. Each one is a conversation starter representing an outward sign of our commitment to honoring, respecting, and protecting the women and children in our lives.
To further support the Moosehead movement, Canada, alongside partners, is taking action to address many of the root causes of violence, including through prevention programs. Indigenous Services Canada's Family Violence Prevention Program supports the operation of a network of shelters for Indigenous women, children, families, and 2S LGBTQIA+ people. There are places of refuge where people can escape violence, but prevention is just as important. And so we also fund culturally appropriate and community-driven activities across the country, like public awareness campaigns, conferences, workshops, and support groups. We believe survivors, and we are committed to helping them move forward.
Together, we can address the causes of violence and contribute to healing. Today, on Moosehead Campaign Day, wear the pin, show your support. Start a conversation about how we can eliminate gender-based violence.
And today, we stand alongside the men, boys, and all Canadians to end violence against Indigenous women, children, and 2S LGBTQIA+ people. Miigwech, Nakumek, Marcy, thank you, merci.
So thank you so much to the Honourable Minister Mark Miller and the Honourable Minister Patty Hadju for their amazing words and their support for this important cause. It's now my pleasure to invite Paul Lacerte and Raven Lacerte to share some closing remarks for this part of our day. And so we'll just ask Paul and Raven to come forward.
Thank you, David, Hadi, Deneza, Sekeza. Hello, my respected relatives. Paul Lacerte Sadni, Gilam Gilo Sadni. My English name is Paul Lacerte, and my traditional name is Gilam Gilo. I'm carrier from the Notley-Wet'en First Nation in north central British Columbia. And I'm also of French, Lebanese, and Ukrainian descent. I want to acknowledge with respect and gratitude that we are gathered here today on the traditional territories of the Lekwungen-speaking peoples, the Songhees and Esquimalt First Nations, and to say thank you so much to our brother, Bradley Dick, Kipwe Lipton, for the warm welcome and for taking us through our protocols this morning. Thank you so much, brother. I'm the co-founder of the Moosehead Campaign together with my daughter, Raven. And it is an honor and a privilege to stand here with you today in solidarity. To take a stand against violence towards women and children. And to show the strength of our collective resolve to end that violence. And there is so much strength in what you are doing today and what you will do today. There are people gathered today in every province and territory. In kindergarten to grade 12 schools all across the country. There are over 250,000 kindergarten to grade 12 students participating from across Canada today. The young ones are leading us. There are Moosehead Day gatherings in First Nations, Inuit, and Métis communities all across Canada today. In RCMP detachments and at colleges and universities. Municipal governments all across Canada are standing with us today, and many of them are proclaiming today as Moosehide Campaign Day. The city of Niagara is on board, and they are lighting up Niagara Falls with Moosehide Campaign colors in honor of this call to action. The government of British Columbia also proclaimed today Moosehide Campaign Day for this province. Across Canada, people are observing Moosehide Campaign Day in government offices, provincial and territorial legislatures, and in the Canadian Parliament. On the east coast of Canada, the legislature for Newfoundland and Labrador is having their 5th annual Moosehide Campaign Day fast in a nonpartisan, bipartisan healing ceremony. The first ever Indigenous Governor General of Canada joined us today to open her heart and share her own personal experiences, and to lend the power and influence of her office to this important movement. We heard words of commitment from the federal government through the 2 federal cabinet ministers responsible for Indigenous relations and Indigenous services. And that's important. And we heard powerful words from Senator Murray Sinclair, the former head of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Today is an implementation action in response to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, the TRC's 94 calls to action. We were talking to Senator Sinclair a few days ago, and he said to us, never stop what you're doing. And when a titan of a human being like Senator Sinclair says that to you, you listen. What each of you are doing today is an implementation action in response to the 231 calls for justice from the Murdered and Missing Indigenous Women and Girls National Inquiry. And the Moosehide Campaign is an implementation action pursuant to Article 22.2 of the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, which reads, states shall take measures in conjunction with Indigenous peoples to ensure that Indigenous women and children enjoy the full protection and guarantees against all forms of violence and discrimination. So there is strength in what we're doing today. And we are not alone in this. Today, there are thousands of people across Canada who are fasting. Thousands of people who are going without food and water today to show that they are serious. For some people, they think about this as a hunger strike. For us, we think about it as a ceremony, as Dave has said. And for every society and for every religion on the planet, if there is something important at hand, people fast. The thousands of people who are fasting today are demonstrating that ending violence against women and children in this country is an important matter for us as Canadians, and that we are serious about changing it. So there's strength in what we're doing today. But we still have a long way to go. According to the Native Women's Association of Canada, over 4,000 Indigenous women have been murdered or gone missing in Canada. over 4,000. My daughters and granddaughters are Indigenous women. Here in BC, there are over 60,000 physical or sexual assaults committed against Indigenous and non-Indigenous women every year. That's more than 1,000 per week. 1 in 3 women who attend a college or university in Canada will experience sexualized violence before they graduate. 1 in 3. So I am not okay with those statistics. And I'm not okay to know that those are the lived realities of our precious ones. And I know that you are not okay with that either. So we're asking for your help. We would like to invite each of you in. Wherever you are today, and whatever you are doing, even if you're at work or at school, or if you're at home, if you are ready to take a stand against this violence, and if you are able to stand, then please stand up now. If you are fasting today, please stand up. If you have experienced some form of violence in your own life, like many of us have, male, female, and all those along the gender continuum, then please stand up. If you are currently experiencing violence in your life, I want to say that we see you, that you are loved, and that we are standing with you, and that it's not your fault, and that you are not alone. And if you believe that enough is enough, and if you believe that this violence must stop, then please stand up. I'm standing up for my daughters and granddaughters today. Who are you standing up for? Who are you willing to stand up for? Maybe it's a loved one, and maybe it is for your own precious self. But we need to stand up. For those of you that are standing now, in this moment, wherever you are, please turn to the person to your right and to your left and tell them who you're standing up for today. If you're by yourself today, please send a message to the person who you're standing up for. Thank you. Please be seated. If you're watching and you're standing up right now and you're done your work, please be seated. I want to end my comments today by saying thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining us. Yeah, we have a long way to go, and this is a really important step in that journey. I want to turn the floor over to my precious daughter, Raven, and ask her to provide the second half of our address. Thank you again so much for joining us.
I would I would like to start by sharing a few words in my Indigenous language, which is Carrier from North Central BC. Hadit, Raven Lacert Sadni, Loretta Madam Slew, Paula Cert Spa, Saigana Lachshabu, Injan Yinkak Dene Keo, Tabesna Chalia, Injan Lakwangan Keo. My name is Raven Lacert, and I am the co-founder of the Moose Hide Campaign. My mom is the late Loretta Madam, and my dad is Paul Lacert. I am a first-generation residential school survivor. My late mom attended the LeJac Residential School, which closed in 1984. I gratefully acknowledge that I'm joining you today from the traditional territory of the Lekwungen-speaking peoples, the Songhees and Esquimalt nations. And I want to thank our amazing relative, Bradley Dick, for the beautiful welcome. My elders have always told me to speak from the heart, and so the words that I'm going to share with you today are written down, but they are from my heart. And my heart is so full of love and hope today. There are over 400,000 people that have joined us today across Canada to take a stand against violence towards women and children. Over 400,000. When my dad and I first started this campaign in 2011, there were just two of us. So I want to thank and acknowledge each and every one of you as a woman, as an Indigenous person, and as a mother. I want to say thank you. Thank you for joining the Moose Hide Campaign. Thank you for taking the time to educate yourself and strengthen your mind. Thank you for standing up and saying enough is enough. And thank you for taking action today and every day to end violence against women and children in this country. When we got the inspiration for the campaign Along the Highway of Tears, we were talking about that name and what it means. So many women have been murdered or have gone missing along that highway that it is called the Highway of Tears. And it represents so much pain and hurt. And our whole country is feeling that same pain and hurt because the Highway of Tears is not an anomaly. This issue and this reality affects every single community in our country. Violence comes in many forms and can happen to anyone. Many of you watching today may have been affected by violence. And the effects that it can have on an individual, a family, or a community can be devastating. Violence thrives in the shadows, and we are here to shine a light on it. We are here to say that violence is not okay, that it is not love, and it is not welcome in this great country. At the beginning of the campaign, my sisters and I cut up the first 25,000 squares of moose hide and started handing them out. Right away, people were interested. They started wearing the moose hide squares as a sign of their commitment to heal and to honor, respect, and protect the women and children in their lives. Over the past 11 years, we have distributed over 3 million squares of moose hide to Canadians that are taking a stand against violence towards women and children. Today, over 2,500 different communities across Canada are participating in Moose Hide Campaign by doing projects and events. When we started this work, I knew that my dad was doing it to keep me and my sisters safe, and I got that. But when I had my own daughters, Cedar, who is almost 4 now, and my baby Chasias, who is almost 2 months old now. I understood it in a whole different way, that I will do anything to keep them safe and out of harm's way. But in order to keep them safe, in order to keep all women and children safe, we need to change our whole country. We need to change the trajectory of our society. We need to transform the attitudes in our society towards women, towards Indigenous women, and towards everyone along the gender continuum. We need a better future than the past that we have had. And to build a country where women and children are free from violence and treated with love and respect at all times. So there are so many important efforts taking place in our communities across Canada to end violence against women and children. And the Moose Hide campaign is one of the ways you can contribute to that effort. I want to ask you to please continue being part of this movement. I want to ask you to keep wearing your Moose Hide pins and to share them with your friends and your family and your coworkers. I want to ask you to continue to talk about this issue and to develop grassroots efforts and strategies to break the cycles of violence. Our vision is for 1 million Canadians to fast together on the same day to end violence towards women and children. I want to invite you to be part of that vision. Our vision is to distribute 10 million squares of moose hide to Canadians from coast to coast to coast. I want to invite you to be part of that vision. When we started, it was just me and my dad. And look where we are today. Imagine what we can all do, what you can do, if we all keep working together. Owetza, Masicho, all my relations.
Masicho, thank you so much, Paul and Raven, for your powerful words. And, I heard across all of our keynote speakers, all of our speakers today, I heard that commitment and that call to action, and that sense that there is possibility of change in this space, but how much work there is ahead of us. And so I'm really encouraged to hear so much commitment from such important speakers today. And we want to just take a moment now to reflect on all those good words and make sure you take them with you in your head and heart, belly, and walk with those words and the teachings that we were honored to receive today. I have several important reminders to share with you today as we go into the break. We're heading into a break in just a second, but I just want to make sure everybody knows that the next steps. But first, I want to just make sure that all of those who are participating today continue to feel safe and supported in this powerful and very tough issue to talk about and to experience. And so should you need additional supports or resources, one place you can go, we encourage you to go, is just to our wellness center on our events website. You can go there, and under Wellness Center, there's resources and support so you can access there. And also on that website are encouragement from elders, some videos from elders encouraging you during your fast if you're fasting, or maybe sparking your interest to join us next year in our fast. And we'll certainly be doing this every year until we get to that vision that I've come to slowly believe is very possible, but now I'm committed to it too with Paul and Raven and their family, and Yokwelapten and all the families here, is to realize that vision of 1 million Canadians fasting together. So there are videos there and some helpful information on the events website there. Workshops, the free interactive online workshops will start at 10 p.m. Pacific time, so that's fairly soon. And if you haven't registered for a workshop, you can do that. You still have a few minutes to go onto the events website and register there. And there's a selection of a number of workshops there, most of them by traditional elders or knowledge keepers who are sharing about reconciliation and how to build your skills and practices in this kind of work that we're trying to support. And for those of you in Victoria, again, just want to strongly encourage you to come down to Thunderbird Park at the corner of Belleville and Douglas and join us in our walk at noon. We'll have that walk starting right at noon, and we'll go down to the legislature, which is about a block away, and we will spend some time there together and hear some more words. That again will be live streamed, so if you are anywhere else in Canada and want to join us on the live stream, please do that. You're more than welcome to come and watch, and we encourage you to, if you are close to a walk or an event in your local community, we encourage you to go out to that. And then the live stream will go, we'll take a break at that stage, and we'll be coming back at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for our fast breaking ceremony and an opportunity to hear from the witnesses that were called forward. And if it's too late in your time zone to break your fast, we totally understand. For some of you on the East Coast, that'll be 2 o'clock or very late at night. So certainly we encourage you to go and watch the recorded fast breaking ceremony that we have there in support of you breaking your fast for the day. And we're really honored to have our Chief Wedlady Speck, an elder and supporter of this important work, has put together some words and some supports for you to break your fast. And so you can do that online, or you can join us tonight. And you can do both. If you feel to break your fast early, we encourage you to go to the events website and do that, as well as join us live online at 8 p.m. Tonight. And so with that, I just want to encourage each and every one of you to take care of yourselves, to spend some time and really digest the important words that you've heard today. And for myself, I'm taking away not only the nourishment and the encouragement of those words, but also the call to action that I think is in each and every one of our hearts to create a safer country for all women and children. So we'll see you all soon, either at the workshops, or we will see you, if you're not able to join us in our workshop, please do join us at the live stream at 12 p.m. Pacific time for our walk to end violence. And if we don't see you there, then we'll certainly see you at 8 p.m. tonight. And if we don't see you there, we'll see you down the road, because we're on this journey together. So see you soon. All my relations.